Welcome, everyone, to Understanding the Human Condition. I'm your host, Dr. James Flowers. My lovely co-host, Robin French, is here with me. Good morning.
Hey, Dr. Flowers.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Super excited. After Super Bowl weekend in Los Angeles, we had an amazing time, but I'm even more excited about our guest today. We have the amazing 8-time, correct?
Yes.
Grammy-winning, award-winning person, Philip Lawrence.
Yay!
I love
And the crowd goes wild.
and everybody goes crazy. Yeah.
What's up?
I love it.
Loving the glasses.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I thought I might spice it up a little bit.
Oh,
for you.
you did. You did. We're so excited to have you.
When he came on and the screenshot came on, I got a little envious because I said, he and I were just chatting, and I said, are you in LA or Palm Springs? Because I was in both over the last week.
Lucky.
I love you. You're right. That's right. I love the mid-century modern sort of vibe with the palm trees.
You nailed it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So beautiful background.
Yep.
Are you in your study, or where are you today?
This is right in sort of the main living space, but it's overlooking, because we're sort of in the hills.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're looking at the mountains in the background.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's a great space for creativity, I bet.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And meditation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did a little hiking last week while I was there in Laurel Canyon and Runyon Canyon, and that was fun up in the hills.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Runyon Canyon is one of my favorite places to go.
Is it? Yeah. Parking.
I can always judge how good I'm in shape by Runyon Canyon.
You know what?
Oh, God.
Let me just tell you, it was a horrible morning for me because I hadn't been to Runyon Canyon. Houston's flat,
Right.
and I go to LA and I'm so excited to be back at Runyon Canyon. And about 20 minutes into it, I'm like, holy crap, I cannot believe that I am out of breath. I should be able to do this better than I'm doing it this morning. So you hit that on
Great exposure.
I was like, it just opened me wide up, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
I know. Yeah, I was a little embarrassed with the folks I was with.
Well, to everyone listening, Philip is best known for more than a decade of collaboration with Bruno Mars and so many others. At the height of his success and dealing with the challenges of superstardom as well as life on the road, Phil began an inward journey that began with his sobriety just over 4 years ago. His life looks very different than it did before, and what he has gained in his humility, as well as his new design for living and some of the most creative years to be seen yet.
Absolutely. Wow. Amazing. There's so much more to the bio. We wanted you to kind of tell us some of your amazing history, but I just wanted to start with saying, congrats on 4 years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is huge. That is absolutely huge. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to tell just a little bit of your story. Can you do that, and what brought you to sobriety?
I can. Yeah. I feel like I should start. Hi, Philip Alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Mine is a journey of, I think, accepting the truth.
Yeah.
For a long time, I sort of believed a false truth about myself, that I was this artist that was willing and ready to do whatever, and there wasn't really this sort of anchor that was keeping me from, trying everything, and I think there's a part of me that, I began singing at a very, very early age. I come from a very musical family. My mom was a choir director. Dad was a deacon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my brother and sister and I, we sang in church every Sunday, and even if we didn't want to, mom was not having it any other way.
Where was that, by the way?
I was in Indiana.
Okay.
Grew up in the Midwest.
Yeah. Midwesterner. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
Midwestern?
Yes, I am. Illinois. Born in Wisconsin,
Illinois.
raised in Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to party in Carbondale.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
That's
Us and a lot of other people.
oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think early on I began to use music as my identity.
Yeah.
I began to think that was who I was. And as I look back on that now, I realize that that's not who I am. It's just what I do. And B, there is a false sense of validation, I think, as a performer.
Yeah.
You know, when we're on stage, we're so used and so ready for that applause.
Yeah.
You know, and performing for such a young age, I became, not only addicted to that, but conditioned that, you know, wherever I go, I'm going to be applauded for.
Yeah.
And that's my validation. That ensures that, okay, I'm doing okay. I'm in the right place. And so I think I just sort of chased that feeling my whole life. And, there's a part of that drove me to the success that I was able to achieve, which is a great thing. But then the sort of stereotypical trappings of the entertainment industry that I swore up and down I would never fall victim to, right? Like you read these stories, you're like, oh, that'll never be me, you know? How could I do some of those things? Like, oh my God, he spent that much money. How did he do that?
Yeah.
He's an idiot, you know?
Yeah.
And what I learned is that a lot of times, until you're in that position, you just don't quite know what you're going to do. And the biggest if for me was, if you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
once you make the journey, as I have, that started 4 years ago, into discovering, and I think it's an onward journey that we're gonna go through until the day we die.
Yeah.
I think hopefully, we're always evolving and we're learning about who we are and how we can be of service to the world around us. But until that happens, and until that happened for me, it was anything goes. And so all of these things, I had gotten married, and my wife and I have 4 children, and I would do these things that would not only harm myself, but harm my marriage. And, would always say, why am I doing this? It's not who I am, and it's not what I want to do, but it's this default wiring, that I had for so many years, that when life had finally beat me down enough, and I had caused enough pain, not only to myself, but also, to my family and others. And I think, I felt like I had become more of a liability than an asset.
Right.
It was time.
Yeah.
And, there was a moment that happened, in the midst of, the great success, that Bruno and I had achieved, where I was faced with the life before.
Yeah.
And faced with a choice of, okay, all right, it's all catching up to you now, my man. Who do you want to be and what are you going to do? And, my wife was like, all right, I'm leaving Yo Booty.
Yeah.
How old were the kids?
Yeah.
How old were they? Yeah, at the time.
At the time, so now they're 12, 11, 6, and 5.
Okay.
So
Got it.
So subtract 4 across the board.
Exactly.
Right? So they're young,
Yeah.
but old enough, that really be impacted by my behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened, and my wife sort of gave me an ultimatum. You need to get help.
Right.
And I went to the Betty Ford Center.
Yep.
And that was the beginning of my life changing.
Amazing. Yeah. So you had an external voice, i.e. your wife, saying you need help, you need to go get help, you need to do this or I'm leaving. And then you had an internal acceptance, it sounds like. Finally, you came to a point of, oh, I'm going to lose my wife and family, or I'm going to go to the Betty Ford Center. Did you have, was there an intervention involved?
There wasn't an intervention.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, I was ready.
Yeah.
I was tired.
Yeah.
And probably sick of being sick in the morning, right?
Sick of being sick, and sick of apologizing and sick of making excuses and, I didn't really mean that. And, all of these things that I thought was my identity.
Yeah.
I had adopted these belief systems that I thought who I was. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to lie. I'm going to party. I'm going to be the life of the party. I'm going to drink more than anyone else. I'm going to do this, and so
as a Grammy Award winning artist, did anyone ever tell you at the time you were going to Betty Ford, did anyone ever talk to you about the foundation arm of the Grammys, Music Cares?
They did.
Yeah.
They did, absolutely. And I was introduced to some phenomenal people from Music Cares.
Yeah. Did you ever do you know Shireen Janty?
I didn't meet Shireen, but I met Harold.
Oh, Harold
yeah.
Owens.
We're interviewing him
Harold
in a few
Owens, who was
weeks.
an icon.
He's going to be on the podcast here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, he is. Well,
What-
tell him I said, what's
I
up?
will. I will. What an amazing man, Harold,
Yeah.
and his life and his story, and one of my really good personal friends and colleagues, and what an amazing man. And the Betty Ford Center has just a history of excellence, and I had a personal relationship many years ago with the Betty Ford Center, a professional relationship with Betty Ford. And the woman, Betty Ford, actually was an amazing, my God, what a story, and what amazing human being. So I'm so glad that you had that opportunity, and here you are today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How
That's
do what advice would you give? I'm fortunate in that I get to go, I'm not a musician, I'm not an artist. I treat a lot of musicians and artists at J. Flowers Health Institute, and work with the Grammys Foundation quite a bit. And so I go to a lot of events backstage, and boy, do I see, like you see, a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And what advice do you give when you see an artist that's struggling, and you know it in your heart, and you know it in your mind, and you see them? What advice would you give either young artists or 70-year-old artists that are struggling and would benefit from a life of recovery, right? And just don't know how to get there.
Right. Yeah. It's that's a bit of a loaded question, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's this sort of laundry list of things that we can begin to pay attention to around taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And in our industry, it's really important to just pay attention to who's around you as
Right.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
advice.
co-signing your stuff.
Yeah.
And what I learned, and what I often tell kids that I meet, is that it's awesome to chase your dreams, and it's important to follow your dreams, to be driven, and to sacrifice things for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
But don't sacrifice yourself along the way.
Absolutely.
Get to know yourself along the journey. Take stock in your actions and who you are, and seek out people that you admire and try to sort of pick their brain. How did you get there?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you learned?
Yep.
It's really just trying to have some sort of self-awareness, because I think what happens, and I know what happened for me, is as an artist, it's such a long, arduous, challenging road that, by the very nature of trying to be successful, we almost have to have blinders on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have to give so much of ourselves in order to achieve whatever it is we're going after. So, for me, it was this, I was thinking of this, and so many other things were left by the wayside
Yeah.
in terms of my personality and my behavior.
Yeah.
So if, my advice would be to just open the blinders a bit,
Yeah.
really pay attention to the periphery of what you're doing in search of where you're trying to go.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I'm sure the collaboration that you had with so many amazing artists prior to recovery and post-recovery, both amazing experiences, but today's collaboration probably looks a whole lot different, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me in life in general is just my awareness of the moment, my being present,
Yeah.
my being where my feet are.
Yeah.
And so there's a level of appreciation and gratitude that comes with, oh my goodness, look at what I get to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at where I am. Look at the beautiful life that God has gifted me with.
Yeah.
And I think before I was appreciative, and I was, certainly grateful, but there was just this go mentality of what's next, what's next.
Yep.
And very rarely get a chance to, stop and smell the roses and say, hey.
Right. Something I'd love to talk about,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, also talking about going to the Betty Ford Center and being in recovery. As an African American in treatment centers all over the United States, unfortunately, we don't see a lot. We don't see a large percentage of a treatment center being African American. And I've been in every treatment center around the country practically, right? And the percentage is very low. And we always talk about in your community that we go to the church, right? We go to the church. We tend to talk to our pastors and work on it within the family. Talk a little bit about the experience of being African American in recovery and helping other African Americans in recovery.
Yeah, I mean, look, I come from Indiana, so there's a lot of challenges that come from where I grew up.
Yeah.
I'm kind of used to being amongst a few amongst many.
Right.
Even in my high school, and it's interesting. All of the schools that I went to, from elementary to middle school to high school, were 95% white, and 5% black. And in college, I chose to go to a black college so that I could have a different, experience.
Absolutely.
And boy, what a different experience it was.
Clearly it did you good.
Yes, it did. It really, really did. But I think, I think that there are a myriad of reasons why, we just don't see, as many black faces.
Yeah.
And, access.
Yeah.
Access and understanding. I think going to church and having faith is massively important.
Absolutely.
In your life in general.
Sure.
Right? I said, but what I've learned is that you still need tools. You still need guidance. You still need a design. There is still only so much that, from my experience, that certain churches, and maybe there are other churches that are a little bit more equipped with, with what they offer their congregation. But in terms of like how to get sober and what that looks like.
Right.
Because we have this sort of belief system, we pray it away.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Keep praying, baby. And, that's all you need.
It's going to get better.
It's going to be all right. It's going to get better.
Yep.
And that's just not true.
Yep.
The truth is we get better by what we do. It's all in the action that we take, and I love that in AA, the idea that knowledge alone is not going to keep me sober.
That is exactly right. Yeah.
That's what I experienced, in my marriage. It's like, just because I don't want to do the things that I'm doing, I still don't know how to not do that.
Right.
So, I've made it a point to, because I live in the Valley in LA, and, a lot of the meetings that I go to are not black heavy,
right?
Put it that way, to vary it up, because I know, like, as a matter of fact, in about 30 minutes, my sponsee is going to come here and we're going to go through the first 3 steps, and he's black.
I love it. Yeah.
And one of the things he said to me was, he was like, man, it was so great to see somebody that looks like me that is in recovery that can take me through the steps and speak to an experience that maybe someone else may not have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, it's just so important for guys like myself and Harold, to make ourselves available to say, hey, I'm here. There's a story that I can maybe share with you that'll help you. And here's another way.
Yeah. Thank you. And I always tell Harold the same thing, but thank you for being such a role model to black men and black women who are struggling, and you being able to tell them there is recovery, there is another life. Let me tell you how to do it, right? Let me just give you a little bit of guidance here. And then encouraging treatment centers also in our industry,
for sure.
Really to have better access, right? We all need to provide better access to everyone, right? So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I want to hear about this Artists in Recovery event that you played at. Tell us about that.
Yeah, artists. There's a good friend of mine who is actually in he's a member of my home group in Studio City. Shout out to Moore Park. What's up, Moore Park? His name is Lee, and we had just become friendly. And he was putting together this event that was celebrating and honoring Lee Steinberg. And what is her name? I keep forgetting her name, but she's a relatively famous news reporter in LA.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
LA.
And I cannot think of her name, but you're right. She has like 10 years and
she's got 10 years. She just wrote this incredible book about her journey being sober that's funny. And
absolutely.
I can't place her name. He asked if I would perform at the event.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And, he was like, you can kind of do whatever you want. And so the typical thing would be to sing, an inspirational song, Amazing Grace or something,
Yeah.
But I decided to do some homework on both of their stories. And I wrote an original song about it.
Nice.
Wow.
and I
That
performed
is
here live, and it was amazing.
that is so cool. And listen, when Lee Steinberg calls, you answer.
Oh,
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You know, we had an amazing opportunity last week in Los Angeles to sponsor the Brain Health Room for TBI and traumatic brain injury prevention in NFL and high school and even elementary school kids at Lee Steinberg's 35th annual Super Bowl party and at the Sony Studios this last weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. And when he asked us to do it, you just don't say no to Lee Steinberg.
right.
Not ever.
An
And what a
amazing
story he has, right?
Oh.
God, what a story. Do you realize that he is responsible for over $800 million in philanthropic donations as well through both himself and his players?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
just amazing. And what a story he has. It's just amazing. So it was a great event.
Well, I had to stay behind and help
I
hold
know.
the fort
You had to
down.
run the office.
hold the fort down. I
Somebody's got to.
didn't
Yeah.
get to see any of it.
Exactly.
But next year.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us about your TV show. You have a TV show coming out.
Who, me?
What?
What is that about?
Yeah, you're not going to tell us much. but
Robin told me not to bring it up, but I'm bringing it up. No,
You're bringing it up.
thank you.
I just broke the secret.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm not allowed. There's certain things I can't say
Sure.
because it's not 100% official yet. But
Yeah.
it's one of the many gifts of sobriety.
Yeah.
When I sort of got off the road and started to work on myself, it started to open up the doors for other things that I always wanted to do.
Fun.
And one of them is act and be a TV host and all these things. And so I'm going to be the host of a new CBS show.
No,
Go me,
I
go me,
love it.
go me, go me, go me.
Go you.
Congratulations.
Thank
is-
you.
That is
And it's so cool.
Super
and
exciting.
It's very exciting, and it's a great concept. It's called Come Dance With Me.
Okay.
And it'll be out soon. And it's really, CBS is sort of throwing their hat in the ring with the dance shows. So, So You Think You Can Dance and shows like that. But it takes these professional kid dancers who are phenomenal from the ages of 8 to 14, and they get to ask a parent to come dance with them.
Oh,
A parent who doesn't dance.
that is amazing.
And they pair them
Love it.
together, and we've hired these professional choreographers to teach them these incredibly intricate routines, and they're
Wow.
competing for the grand prize to see who will be
Wow.
left
That'd be
standing in the end.
That's amazing in so many ways. One, that you're doing it with adolescents and children, and then you're doing it with their parents, right? And building that relationship as well, right? And having that
It's so
time and
cool.
that bond. That's so cool.
That's good
I know
TV.
I would be the most awkward person out there going, the white boy dance, Somebody needs to give me a little rhythm because I don't have any.
I've never seen you dance.
I can't sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I can't dance.
Yes, but
I
you're
can talk about the
brilliant.
brain,
You are
but
brilliant
that's
in the
about
field
it.
of chronic pain and
So
mental
we've
health
got to
and
have you on the show,
addiction.
because by the end of it, you'll be like, hey now,
Hey
both
now,
flowers.
come on,
Okay,
call-
okay.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
I'd love to see that.
That would be great. I know. Yeah.
So, Roses and Thorns, what was the highest part of your professional career and what was the lowest part of your professional career?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great question. It's interesting. I think it happened on the same night,
I love it.
the same
Okay.
experience.
Really?
Yeah, and it was sort of the catalyst that brought me, to this journey and to recovery. I was at the height of my career, and we were nominated for, awards. I won't say which award show.
Sure.
But it's the pinnacle in music. And, something that as a kid, this is what you dream about.
Yeah.
This is what you do, everything that you're doing for a moment like this. And we were being celebrated for, an album that we had worked really hard on and we're very proud of. And every category that we were nominated in, we won.
Wow.
From our engineer to everybody on the team won. And it was just historical, monumental, and all of the beautiful things about
Everything you dream about.
success that you can you can dream about. On the flip side of that, the day before this event, my wife had gotten a call from a girl that I had been with overseas somewhere. And, we were speaking about that tired thing, that I was experiencing in the months leading to this moment. And she asked me about it. My wife said, "Is this true?" Generally, I would say it's a rumor, it's a lie, it's nothing, it's whatever, how people are.
Right.
I said, "It's true, and I need help."
Yeah.
This is the day before the biggest day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you talk about the roses and thorns. That's exactly what that was. And
so amazing.
What I realized is that, wow, here was this thing that I've dreamt about my whole life, and I can't even enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of my addiction and my disease and behavior, I can't even enjoy this thing that happens to a handful of people.
Yeah.
And the statistics of you getting to where you are slim. The fact that you got
Very
there, very
exactly.
slim. Yeah.
Yeah. So I realized that I had misdefined success.
Yeah.
I was not successful.
Yeah.
I thought I was. Success cannot be appreciated if you can't enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't call it success if that's what's happening. So that was the moment I was like, it's the first time I didn't lie to her. And I said, "It's true, and something's got to change."
Good for you.
Yeah.
And that began the journey.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Speaking of the slim chances of getting where he is today, I was again in LA last week, and I stayed at the Sunset Marquee. And, they have the Morrison studio right there in the front with all the photos of, historic figures and music, right? And I was looking at the walls, and there was Amy Winehouse, right? These beautiful photos of Amy Winehouse performing at the peak of her career. And then I looked on another wall, and there was Michael Jackson. There was 2 or 3 of Michael Jackson. And I was looking over here, flipping through some, and there was Prince. And then I looked through, and there were so many other artists. There's tons of hugely successful artists that continue to be successful. But what I noticed in my mind is flipping through and looking at these walls, it just hit me how many people lose their lives to addiction. And you didn't do it, right?
Yep.
By the grace of God, you're sitting here today.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
And as someone in recovery, you ask yourself, why me?
Yeah.
All the times that I was partying and doing everything, putting all these things in my body, how am I still here?
Yeah.
And so it's more motivation to go out and help somebody.
Yeah, you're great at mentorship. I was reading that.
Absolutely.
You really
It's so
are.
important. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And follow Lee Steinberg's lead on that, one of the best mentors in the world. He makes every football player that he signs go through a mentorship program.
I think that's awesome.
And teaches them how to be mentors and teaches them how to be leaders and give back. Every football player that he signs has to agree to give a certain amount to their own foundation, right? To help underprivileged children around the United States or wherever they choose. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And part of your recovery is clearly giving back and teaching others and helping others and rising up. So
that's right. I mean, we without instruction, oftentimes we don't know what to do. And in the entertainment industry and in sports and where there's just this magnifying glass not only on your life,
right,
but your financial life. All of a sudden now you go from nothing to millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that'll show you who you are too.
Exactly.
Yeah, which you're not prepared for as a kid coming from Indiana, right? I mean, it's just, who prepared you for that? No one.
No
one. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear that, like, hey, let me get you some instruction right away. Hey, let me pair you with, this person. He's been where you're going. Trust me, you need to have some conversation.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I want to ask you, is there anything else that you want to say to the audience and the world out there? Any advice that you have for folks?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
I didn't know how. Help is a phone call away.
Yeah.
Check in with each other. Reach out to people that maybe you haven't spoken to in a while. We all need confirmation that everything's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
Despite what we're going through, reach out and lift someone up. We get so busy with our lives and our careers and all the things that we feel like are important. And of course, there is importance in that area, but we're here to help each other.
Yeah.
We're here to be of service and to try to bring out the best in each other. So I would just say, just encourage people to offer a smile, give a hug. All of those things, the little things, I think really add up to making a big life.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I'll throw in there really quickly, talking about lifting people up and listening to people, is, in the last 3 weeks, we've had a Black Miss America, right? Not Miss Universe, Miss America commit suicide. And everyone thought, oh my gosh, here is this successful woman on ET. Here's this successful woman, Miss America, or Miss USA. Here's this woman who is an attorney. She's happy, she's thriving, she's doing amazing, and she chose to end her life and didn't reach out. We don't know. She may have, but she didn't make it. And what we also need to do is just, like you said, listen and watch and take care of our friends and family. And if anyone out there is feeling suicidal, and last week in LA, a huge producer ended his life, 42 years old, took his own life while I was out there. And, when we're feeling down, talk about it. Reach out. There is help on the other side. So thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for being the amazing human being that you are. And one day at a time, keep it up.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. And right back at you. I love the work that you all are doing. You're helping so many folks. And anytime you need me for anything, write a song for somebody.
You got it. You absolutely.
If someone wants to reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to reach you?
Or
your people.
I was going to say his people, probably.
Your people.
Let's not ask him for his cell phone.
Oh, I knew he wasn't going to give me that, but
Yeah, I've got amazing managers and agents and an incredible assistant. And I also have a multimedia company called Community Culture, and we're on Instagram.
Okay, good.
So you can find some of the things that we're doing there on Instagram as well. So it's
good.
Community, CMNTY, culture as it is in the dictionary.com, and also at Instagram as well.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And for more information or to reach you, Dr. Flowers, how do folks reach you?
I would say go to our website, jflowershealth.com.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to remind everyone watching this or listening that you can find us on numerous platforms to find our podcast: YouTube, Apple, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Please share this episode on social media with someone you think it would help.
Yeah.
And we want to remind you, a clear diagnosis is the key to the most effective treatment possible.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you
so
Philip.
much, Philip.
You're the best.
Have an amazing day out in LA.
You made
Absolutely.
our day.
I will. I'll do it for the both of you.
Yes, please. Yeah. Take good care. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Guys, take care.
Thank you.